Adam Duvall now has 7 home runs in his last 9 games. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Wednesday, August 30th. I am Frank Sanford, joined by Scott White. And let's talk about Adam Duvall, who is red hot. He went 2 for 4 with his 18th home run. He's homered in 4 straight. Has those 7 home runs over his last 9 games. 66% rostered on CBS. Is Adam Duvall a must-add?
I mean, if you need outfield help, it's hard to imagine you're going to find anything more attractive out there right now. This comes with a warning that, okay, Adam Duvall, he's in his mid-30s. He's been around a long time. We know who he is, a very one-dimensional hitter. He can hit for lots and lots of power, has 3 30-homer seasons on his resume prior to this one, including a career-high 38 2 years ago. I believe that's right, 38 or 37. So we know he can hit home runs, but when he's not hitting home runs, he's not doing much else. Usually a low batting average, a lot of strikeouts, bad OBP. We've seen him get hot for stretches where he can carry your team. And in fact, last week, if you started him, he carried your team to the tune of 52 points. But when it ends, there's not much left there to hold on to. So you may be picking him up at this point at the tail end of a hot streak. So if you're at all on the fence about it, maybe don't do it. But if you need help and he's an obvious upgrade, then fine, go ahead.
3 outfielders who have struggled in the second half. Lourdes Gurriel, Bryan De La Cruz, Christopher Morel. Would you drop any or all for Adam Duvall?
Gurriel, De La Cruz, and who else?
Christopher Morel.
Yeah, any of those, I think that's perfectly fine. Gurriel and De La Cruz do not have the sort of track record that would justify continued faith in them over a hot hand play. Morel, I do like his underlying numbers a bit better, but he's started 2 of the last 7 games for the Cubs. So they're fading him just from their own lineup. I think it's fine for you to do the same with yours.
All right, let's slide over to Bo Bichette, who was placed back on the IL with a right quad strain retroactive to August 28th. He was previously on the IL with a knee injury. And if you're looking for replacements, I think there's 3 names that stand out to me at the very top of the list. Royce Lewis, he's 66% rostered, hit another homer on Wednesday. That's now 3 days in a row with a home run for Royce Lewis. JP Crawford, 48% rostered. Luis Rengifo had a double dong on Tuesday. He's 34% rostered. Who would you rather have between JP Crawford and Luis Rengifo as a Bo Bichette replacement? There's not much out there.
Yeah, I do want to stress that Royce Lewis is far and away the best shortstop replacement. It's kind of amazing he's as available as he is. There have been a lot of injury interruptions, but his major league career so far is pretty studly. And obviously he's hot right now. Between JP Crawford and Luis Rengifo, I think Crawford, batting leadoff for the Mariners a lot of the time, and good on-base skills, good plate discipline in general. It's a runaway in points leagues because of that plate discipline for JP Crawford. Closer in categories leagues where Rengifo maybe he'll do a little better in the counting stats, but I don't think the gap is big enough, even in that format, to side with Rengifo over Crawford.
Last but not least, we saw a bunch of players placed on waivers just in Major League Baseball, right? By multiple teams. The Angels, they basically dumped their entire roster. Lucas Giolito, Hunter Renfroe, Randall Grichuk, Ronaldo Lopez, Matt Moore, Dominic Leone. The White Sox placed Mike Clevenger on waivers, the Mets with Carlos Carrasco, and the Yankees with Harrison Bader. I do think there could be some fantasy fallouts here. I guess we'll wait to see who shakes out where. I mean, obviously, if Giolito or Clevenger goes to a better team, that could help their fantasy value. But I do think some ripple effects here. I think this makes Shohei Ohtani more likely to shut things down like sooner rather than later. That's just my speculation. I haven't read any reports on that, but obviously the Angels are kind of throwing in the towel here. And with the Yankees, Harrison Bader placed on waivers. It sounds like Austin Wells, their catcher prospect, could get called up on Friday when rosters expand, and some whispers about prospect Jason Dominguez getting called up in September as well. I just threw a lot your way, Scott. Any thoughts?
Well, I think the biggest thought is like this is a total BS move by the Angels to just dump all their impending free agents. It's not something we would have that would have been an issue just a couple years ago because you could still make trades at this point in the season. Player had to clear waivers for you to make a trade, but now that that's not an option, it's clear they're just letting these guys go, and it's going to have major implications on the playoff race. The teams further back in the race will have the first choice to pick them up, and then all they have to do is pay their salary the rest of the way to acquire them. So yeah, Jay Leto's going to wind up with a better team. All of these guys presumably will. And what does that mean for Ohtani? Look, if I was his agent, I would have already told him to shut it down, playing for a contract as he enters the free agent market this offseason. Will this convince him to do that? Maybe. We're kind of on pins and needles with Ohtani already this season because we don't know when he's going to pack it in.
Yep. All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.